friends, today's topic is analytical epidemiological studies. In my last video, we have talked about descriptive studies, and I have told you that this is the first step in any epidemiological study, especially when a little is known about the disease in question. After the descriptive study, we have formulated the etiological hypothesis. That means we have got a clue about the etiological factor and the disease. And to test this hypothesis, we need analytical epidemiological studies. That means we have to analyze the population. So there are two types of analytical studies, case control studies and case cohort studies. Case control studies and cohort studies both are observational studies, and we are not doing any intervention. So after these studies, we will get association between the risk factor and the disease. Cause and effect relationship cannot be determined by analytical epidemiological studies. First is the case control study. Case control studies are also known as retrospective studies. We have to understand this with the help of an example. In the retrospective studies, both the exposure, that means the risk factor or causative agent exposure, and the outcome, that is the disease in question, has already occurred before the start of study. The study proceeds backward from the effect to cause. So that means, for example, we want to study the association between smoking and lung cancer. So here exposure is smoking and outcome is lung cancer. So that means we will be selecting a case population or study population in which lung cancer is there. And other population will be a control group. This control group will not have lung cancer and they will be selected from the same population, but they will be age and sex matched, means almost the age group of the control group and sex distribution, male and female distribution, and other variables, for example diabetes or comorbidities, etc. They all will be almost similar to the test population or study population. So what we will do is, so only what is difference, that one is lung cancer group, that is study group, and other is a normal healthy group, which is a non-lung cancer group. If we'll have a proper control group, we will be able to support or negate the inference from the study. We will be actually getting an exact association between the risk and the disease, and bias will not be there. Let's understand this. These are the disease cases or lung cancer cases. I have started taking case history. In the case history, I have got two types of patients. One set was smokers like group A, and others were non-smoker, but they still had lung cancer. And by the case history of normal group, who didn't have the lung cancer, I'll be having few smokers like B and non-smokers. We call them as group D. And if I want to know the exposure rate among the lung cancer patients, so exposed cases divided by total cases. And same in the normal, exposed cases or smokers divided by total will give you the exposure rate. So this exposure rate, when is compared, we get a odds ratio. Odds ratio means number of times an exposed person is likely to have disease than the healthy unexposed person. This will give us the association of the study. Now if we'll compare the study group and control group, and we'll come to know that how many smokers developed lung cancer and how many smokers did not develop lung cancer. So from that ratio we can come to know that whether there is an association or a link between smoking and lung cancer. If odds ratio will be equal to 1, it means no association is there. If it is more than 1, that means there is a positive association between smoking and lung cancer. And if it is less than 1, it means negative association, or we can say smoking can act as a protective factor for lung cancer, right? So right now we don't know the association. So we are doing a study to know the association. So that can be done by evaluating odds ratio. So there are advantages and disadvantages of this case control study. Now we know that we have already got the lung cancer patients. We have got the control patients. It's easy to carry out, less time consuming and inexpensive. This is very suitable for rare and chronic diseases because the case has already occurred. Disease has already occurred. You don't have to wait for the disease to occur. There is no risk to subject because you are not subjecting the patient to smoking. You are not telling the patient to start smoking. They have already smoked. Now you are just taking case history. So you are not putting any risk to the subjects. Many risk factors can be studied, though you are only testing one research question. But with that data, with that case history, you can come to know that there might be some other risk factors. There is no dropout cases because already patients are there. So there will be no chances of, moving the patient because we are not doing it in a prospective manner. We are not following the patient. Patients are already there. We just have to take their case history. So there will be no dropout. Minimum ethical issue because we are not asking the patients to smoke. So there are minimal ethical issues are there. And if the disease has long duration or incubation period, this is very suitable for those diseases because disease has already occurred. We don't have to wait for the disease to occur. But definitely there are disadvantages also. I have already told you that there is an element of bias because you are already selecting the lung cancer patients. So you are not randomly selecting the population, and it relies on the past records and memory of the patient. So there will be an element of uncertainty. You will have to rely on the patient's validity, patient's truthfulness. So appropriate control group sometimes becomes very difficult to select. And by this study, only association can be found out. I have already told you. And temporal sequence cannot be traced because now the patient has smoked also. Patient has lung cancer also. You cannot come to know that whether this lung cancer started after patient has smoked for so many years. For how many years? So at this point of time, you cannot know the temporal sequence, timeline sequence of the disease and exposure. Next study is case cohort studies. Case cohort studies are prospective studies. Here, cohort means a group of people. They are identified prior to occurrence of disease. Now, in this group, we will have two groups, study group and control group. Study group will be in which the patients have already been smoking. Exposure has already occurred, but disease has not occurred. That means patients are not having lung cancer at this point of time. So we have to study these groups. We will have control groups also who will be non-smokers, and we will observe them over a period of time to determine the disease frequency, that how many cases of smokers will get converted into lung cancer patients. They will get lung cancer. So the study proceeds from cause to effect. Cause is already there, exposure is already there, smoking is already there, but disease has not occurred. So this is a prospective study. Here we have to follow the patient. So that means study group, patient who are smokers, they may get the disease, they may get lung cancer, they may not get the disease. And same with the control patients who are not smokers, but few of them might get lung cancer. See, there might be many factors of lung cancer. Smoking is one of them. And there will be control group or non-smokers who will never develop the disease. And after some time, after knowing the follow-up interval, we will compare the outcomes, that whether the lung cancer has occurred or not. So if we just see this table, this is the study group or the smoker in which A group has developed lung cancer, B will have remained healthy. So total exposed group or total smokers were A plus B, and incidence rate will be, means how many number of cases lung cancer we got will be A divided by total number of patients. And same control group, we have C, 1 or 2 or how many patients have developed lung cancer, and D is the number of patients who have remained healthy. So total will be C plus D, and incidence rate will be C divided by total patients. So now we will compare these incidence rates, event rates in study group and control group, and we will get relative risk ratio. So there are advantages and disadvantages of these case cohort studies. incidence can be calculated because we are following the patients. So number of new cases we can easily find out. Several forms of outcome can be studied. See, there may be like these smokers will develop COPD, they may develop emphysema, they may develop asthma, or they may develop lung cancer. You are following them. You will have a lot of outcomes. Then dose response ratio can also be calculated. You can divide the patient who were smoking 10 cigarettes a day, who were smoking 50 cigarettes a day, or BD, number of BDs per day, or number of years they have been already smoking. So dose response ratio can be calculated by these studies. And there are disadvantages also. It takes long time to complete. You have to follow up the patient. It is expensive because you are studying the patient again and again. There are chances of drop down cases. People may migrate out of that population, or they may not be interested in study, or sometimes they may die because of accidents. So there are drop down cases or loss of follow-up cases. These studies pose major ethical issues because sometimes you have to convince them that please stop smoking. We are seeing the association between smoking and lung cancer. So there are ethical issues. You cannot tell the patient, please start smoking. I want to see the incidence of lung cancer. You cannot tell them. So it is your duty to tell them to stop smoking. And sometimes they may change their behavior. So you will have less number of people. And ethical issues because you cannot force the patient to keep on smoking just to have, you want to have a good result, or you want to have a uniform atmosphere of the disease. You cannot tell them to keep on smoking, right? So I have already told you that relative risk or risk ratio will be calculated. That means ratio of probability of developing disease in exposed people to those who have not exposed, right? Then attributable risk can also be calculated. That means to which extent this lung cancer will be attributed to smoking. So that is known as attributable risk. You don't need to remember the formula. But yes, I have given, if somebody wants to remember, it is the ratio of exposed rate in the study group minus the exposed rate in control group and divided by the exposed rate in study group. So to which extent this disease can be attributed to the exposure. So whether there is an association or what is the strength of association can be calculated by case cohort studies. So coming to conclusion, association and its strength can easily be found out by analytical studies. No cause and effect relationship can be validated by these studies. Thank you so much. If you have any queries, please put it in comment box. Good day.